you best leave. You're not safe in this house.
Alright.
Are you ready? Are you ready? This is my little lie. Hello and welcome to My Little Lie. Ira is literally just walking that way. Welcome to My Little Lie review Rant Random with a little bit of a difference. Now as Hira's just gonna find themselves. My Little Lie. Right, I just thought I'll make this bit of effort for My Little Lie. Really make a little bit of effort. Now, I seen My Little Lie when it first came out in the early 2000s, and it wasn't until recently, one camera down, there goes the tree. Anyway, so that was it, My Little Lie. My Little Lie came out in VHS and was well ahead of its time, and I recently revisited it and I picked this up, and what a box set. Now I've watched it, watched the commentary, watched it again, and recently just did the audio podcast for it, but it's just a podcast, and what a well packaged DVD. So I thought I'll sit down and have a rant about My Little Lie. Now what's very unique about this box set is, I'll get back to that actually. So the film itself is filmed in Canada. And at the early 2000s and late 90s, we had the Big Brother, the rise of the Big Brother. And there was a lot of shenanigans and watching it, like this, even this theme tune was released as a signal. And basically, the movie itself it's aged so well. So what I'm going to say here is, now it was done as an experimental movie, costing less than £2 million, which they spent all on mini DV cameras. So basically, they spent all the money, they built the sets, and then they cast some actors. One of them went on to become very famous. His name is Bradley Cooper, who has a very small role in this. And there's another actor who went on to be in the Frankenstein Fury. So a few of the actors have went on to do big and better things. Some have drifted off into obscurity, but it adds to the fact that you go, oh, I recognise him from that. It works for this movie. Now it's about 5 guests. Let's call them guests, yeah. So they basically have been in the house for 6 months, and on the last week when they come out, they think they've been watched by the world. And stuff starts to unfold and unravel, and all of a sudden the plot thickens a bit. Now, what's brilliant about this movie is, again, it's an experimental movie. So how do you jump 6 months into a story after the initial introductions? And if you're looking back, you can go, right, you can, if you look at the 5 people when you first meet them, spot the one that's green screen, because one person's green screen to look like the rest of them all against this concrete wall. And that's how the film starts. You get a brief in the loop of these people, then all of a sudden off it goes to the races. It's 4 months, it's, as I say, 6 months later, fast tracks a lot. The original cut of this movie was 4 hours long, and they literally just sliced and diced, cut, four-way screens and all that mumbo jumbo, cutting around left, right and centre to get to the point where, right, bang, wallop, here comes the story. It's the last week, tensions are high, if anyone leaves, everyone fails, and it's £1 million payout, and the dog's on the loose, and the famous, everyone's got a reason to be there, but they've all find themselves in little tricks and trunks to get these little boxes of the supplies and all that, but they can't leave the house. It's right up there in the Alaska Circle of Canada. It's a very isolated place. And then all of a sudden, spoiler, like, come on, if you're enjoying this so far, you know fine well I've made the effort here, but I'm about to absolutely spoil the movie. They don't realise that they're not on the internet in the Big Brother. They are being filmed, they are being watched, but it's a snuff website. And that's when everyone's like, oh, what's going on? You know, and they all don't know, at least one may know. But yeah, that's where it really gets twisted. Now, I do apologise for the dog walking around right in front of shot. You can probably see her on a couple of shots there. Got a happy face, it's thunder and lightning outside. Hira, come here. Come out from underneath the camera, come on. They didn't have a dog in the film, did they? No. But yeah, basically, what I love about this movie is it's an idea, it's a risk, and they spent a lot of money on the cameras, and I hope you know that. I'm developing film for this review. And they spent a lot of money on cameras everywhere, like the Mini DV. Now, as the Mini DV appears there, so you can see it, that's filmed at the same time. And you can see the quality leap just in a couple of years. And that camera is very around the time, but they spent a lot of money and saved a fortune by having a night scope switch that camera unfortunately doesn't have. That comes into play great. But yeah, they basically had a nice outline and they just made it work. It's creepy, and I mean, it doesn't follow the rules of basic horror movies. It's obviously found footage and reality films were a rise thing there, but the rules weren't really true. Or you need to find out how to find the tape, or how no one finds it, or you're watching a ghost story. A ghost story, I mean, like, oh, you know, these people are all going to be dead by the end of it. Like, you know what I mean? But what this does is, the fear about this is, especially at this era, when mobile phones, I mean, everyone just get the phones out now, and there's an additional camera, probably the best camera in the room, you know, but in the pocket of your hand. But we're going old school with this. The idea that you could go, oh yeah, I'll be in a reality show, right, mum, dad, I'm going to have to be in a reality show, get on an airplane, helicopter, whatever, go all the way up this Canadian place, and then you were never seen again, because this is essentially what happens. The psychological stuff they're doing this, the twists, the turns, the ability of, like, they're sitting there and they're so used to the camera, and like, you know, there's no more privacy anymore, and the fact that they can hear the rotation of the camera zooming in on them, or the rotation of that, and going, are you watching me, are you not? And the film really plays with that, and I think a lot of the cast do well. There's a scene when one of the lads is completely deadpan in the camera and he's rolling a bullet in his mouth, like, yep, you're gonna watch this. And there's also another bit where Charlie, Bradley Cooper turns up halfway through it, and Bradley Cooper, as the twist goes, is involved. He's just like, I've been watching you for 6 months, I'm one of the guys, you don't know I'm the guy, and I want to have sex with this girl. And he comes in and plays the game. But when it has the Peaches playing, like, Fuck the Pain Away, which is like, I mean, again, for so that like, obviously all the cameras, every angle's been thought about in the storytelling of this movie. And the way they use Fuck the Pain Away, but not they use expressive sex scenes, but again, Bradley Cooper deadpan the camera. But the creepiness about it is watching people's reactions to all this stuff going on in the other rooms. Again, diving into that psychological twist of like what it's like. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the cameras, I mean, there's a Tom and Jerry mouse scene, there's a bit of, again, Truman Show was a big film this time. Ed TV came along, but Truman Show, the scenes where they're trying to get away and having a private conversation, and like the realization that someone's playing games, who is playing games, or is it the people watching them now starting to fuck with them, putting bloody hammers in there, and putting birds in the attic. I mean, there's a scene with the bird in the attic which is terrifying. But for some reason they use a little bit slow motion now and again. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And then, you know, one of the deaths is very, very brutal, striking. Then the rest of the deaths that follow are brutal. Now, one of the things what really gives this film the creepiness is when it goes green. Now, I am green now, but my eyes are not glowing, which is something that the night scope does, which there's probably an app for that now, but the way it uses the green and the way it uses the where he is and the darkness of the shadows, and the fact that the actors, when they did this, would have been in the darkness. And the choice of using the Evil Dead video game where you can hear Bruce Campbell, hey, pick the control pad up, and the guys going around the house and the weird creepy opera music, and then just the twists and turns. That was my shoe. It is very sinister, and as I said, like, I've seen this film now 5 times in less than a week, and it really inspired me to sit down and do all this, even though there's a biblical thunderstorm about to happen outside. But what was the inspiration was getting this DVD. Now, this is a well packaged DVD. It's got a very nice inside box, and what you do get is 2 discs, and one of the discs has an interactive cut. Now, we're talking 2002 here, an interactive cut, right? When you put this film on, it has no audio until you hear the dial-up of the internet, and as you hear the dial-up and it goes through, it's da 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 da. It then says enter the code, and you're like, well, what's the code? Like, seriously, what is the code? Now, later on in the movie, they've got the code, but what is the code? Like, seriously, what's the code? Very clever. There's the code on there. So the code is 0405, and again, it's a very interactive thing. At the time, things like the was it Eleanor, the Book of Shadows, Blair Witch thing was doing stuff like that, really seeing what Blu-ray can do, but at the end of the day, it's not a universal thing. Easter eggs and all this kinds of stuff. Well, like if you didn't know, you didn't know. It's like back in the early, the early 80s, like late 80s or 90s. If you didn't know that Mortal Kombat fatality, you didn't know. You couldn't just go, "Hey Siri, what's the fatality for Sub-Zero on Mortal Kombat?"
I found some web results. I can show them if you ask again from your iPhone.
No, thank you. See the leap of technology. Just if you didn't know, you didn't know. Hey Siri, what do you think of the movie My Little Lie?
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help with?
Hey Siri, tell me about the movie My Little Lie.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So yeah, again, perfect example of leaps and bounds of technology. But again, when this movie was made, Big Brother was massively huge. Like, Anthony Hutton lives that way, like 5 minutes that way. He won Big Brother one year. You know what I mean? He's a nice guy, but you see him on TV, it's a different persona, different, like, you know what I mean? There's one thing about reality television. It's like, oh yeah, you may look good. It's the personality. It's what's going on behind. What happens when you put certain people in certain environments and the chemistry. And when you take that into a horror film, I think that's what this film needs preserved. This needs reissuing on Blu-ray. A company like 88, even Arrow, something like this needs to acknowledge this. The director's went on to do quite a lot of stuff. Recently directed Manhunt, a British TV series. But this, you know, it needs its second. It is a gem and a half. And I think, if it comes out, and again, even the documentary on this is meant because it's before, middle, and after, which you don't normally see in documentaries. They've took the extra time to do that. So if you haven't seen My Little Lie, check it out. Really worth owning that in your collection. And again, hopefully it will get a release on Blu-ray. And I hope you like this random review. It's been all over the place. There's a camera right there, that's film. That camera died a long time ago. I believe there's a camera there. I might have switched off by now. There's one up there. And then there's been someone all that time in the corner creeping on us. Oh yeah. And then again, someone's always creeping on you here. Yeah, isn't that true? My Little Lie. Say goodbye, Siri. Hey Siri, say goodbye. Okay. Epic fail at the very end. See you in the outtakes.
Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling? Now who's smiling?
Watched it again and recently just did the audio podcast for it, but it's just a podcast, and what a well packaged DVD. So I thought I'll sit down and have a rant about My Little Lie. Now, what's very unique about this box set is, I'll get back to that actually. So the film itself is filmed in Canada, and at the early 2000s and late 90s we had the Big Brother, the rise of the Big Brother. So here, briefly in the outtakes, if we're going to put the screen there, so that's the tape still rolling. Tape, like cameras like this you would buy early 2000s, so these will be very similar cameras that would have used. Again, tape, like how long this review has just been. This is on the tail end of me and my friends just clowning around with them air bottles I found while restaurating some of the footage, so I know I've got nearly 30 minutes of tape just there to use. But yeah, again, battery, big screens would absolutely annihilate your battery. Camera rolling, you can hear that camera. There's another camera just gone off. Which one was that? That's the camera in the corner. They're not on filming anymore. But yeah, again, lenses can fit onto these, widescreens lenses, zoom in lenses. Again, rotation of joysticks and the old CCTV cameras and stuff like that. But again, it wouldn't have been cheap. But again, you would spend all that money, you would watch the cameras, not damage the cameras, and then you would probably sell them on. Again, it's production. But what a gem of a movie. Hope I've justified it. I hope I've remembered everything in my notes about this. And again, I have recorded a podcast of me watching this, ranting over the top of it, so they should come out at the same time, because this is no easy edit, just for a random video on YouTube. Make sure you check out My Little Lie. Goodbye for now. Some pure biblical Jurassic Park weather, that mind. I mean, this camera's waterproof. Not from that. I mean, mother of God, man. So this is meant to be the review rant random for My Little Eye. Can't go out the house, curfew, white light, no, in this instance, rain. Hello on the outtakes of My Little Eye. So we're going to jump around a little bit because there was original bit filmed thinking that the corner CCTV shot hadn't recorded. So we're going to jump to that in a second, but what I waffle on about prior to that is something I didn't mention all the way through this is I've directed 2 music videos, one for Spook and one for Lunajet, both called CCTV, but the second one's called CCTV 2. Very early stuff. If you go back, there's loads of cameos in it and they cross over to loads of different videos, the Castro video, the Room 51 videos, all them kind of era videos of that point crossover. The second one was filmed in China, America, New Zealand, Bulgaria and England, and it's one of the most videos I'm more proud of, and it's proper dark and twisted, and there's loads of little bits and bobs in that. So again, inspired by the CCTV era. Now about to just jump to cut, well done Stephen in the outtakes, to a little rant about a fisheye, then I'll be back. It's a very tight lens this as well, this fighting's really intense, right? Because we'll just go on another round, what about here? When you get different lenses, here comes the dog again. If I did that, wow, look at that! Welcome to My Little Eye! So again, there was a bit of a fuck up, but again, it's not a $2 million movie. It is literally a no budget, no problem, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, again, well, hello. Hello! Right, so you just see me ranting on about the fisheye. So what now we're going to jump to is, earlier on I mentioned footage at the quarry, filmed on the same tape as the footage that was developed just for you. And there's a classic clip of Pearson after he broke his leg on crutches, and one of the lemonade bottles comes pinging down, and Pearson's reaction's priceless. Oh shit.
He's a fucking human for me, aren't you?
And now that you've seen that, you're about to see some other footage I discovered while developing this video. I'm talking about when it's green and the eyes are pinging. There's a video footage now of me and my long lost best friend in the world, Jake, long gone, bless him. It's filmed at my mum's house in 2002, I think the date stamp was this. And obviously I'm stoned, I'm not gonna lie, it's like years ago, and I'm like proper freaking out in the dark, and it's just so close to how My Little Eye is. So hope you enjoy this, and then there'll be some more outtakes, but for now, for me, goodbye, hope you're enjoying the review. It's been a technical one, but yeah, enjoy. I don't know why I'm fucking paranoid, I don't know why, right? Suddenly, my garden's just become a fucking forest. It really looks like a jungle. Oh man. Looks like a fucking cannabis plant. Wish the fuck I was. Oh man. There's a fucking gate. I'm not going through that gate, like. Fucking scary down that end of the garden. The tree's fucking glowing. Is that you, Jake? You're having a black dog. You can't see him for fucking shit. Fucking cat's gonna give us a fucking heart attack tonight. There's fucking ninjas past us all the time. I'm going back inside, that fucking garden creeps the fuck out of me at night. Jake, man! Stop it! I am proper skitzing out. I need some lights on. I'm not walking around the dark anymore in this night vision. I'm seeing fucking faces. I'm fucking hearing dogs. I'm getting attacked by cats. I'm hearing doors fucking open. It's scaring this. Hey! Jake, is that you? Because I'm fucking shitting myself. Jake? Jake? Jake, I want to be fucking you opening that door. Is that you? You fucking idiot. I'm not sleeping tonight, Jake. It's a fucking cat! Again? How you went past me outside? You two are playing fucking games on me, look at you. All I wanted to do was film that video. Mother of God! Like literally. What's that? That's like problem tile 2 shit. Girl! So you know the start of the video when higher left? That's what she was doing.
I mean, it's biblical weather outside. Don't blame her really, but yeah, brand new carpet shirt. Thank Goyle.
Hiya, here's one final outtake. This camera never stopped recording. And you know what's ironic about this camera here? Even though I did the outtake and all that, you might have seen an additional clip while I was talking to the camera about the CCTV. This is the camera I dropped and smashed in New Zealand. That is ironic because that camera is almost invincible and more reliable than a camera I hardly use. So awesome. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.